Hello, in this video I would like to explain the visual scheduling capabilities of JustPlanet, so of job shop scheduling. In the first part I would show the visual elements and visual capabilities, and in the second part I'm going to show all the automatic scheduling capabilities of JustPlanet. Okay, let's start off, and therefore I switch to my account, and let's start off with that view, what you can see here. So that view is called the resource view. In the table part you can see all the resources that are going to be scheduled. So each resource gets one line, and you can directly see that there in the background here is some white and gray pattern, and this is visualizing the productive and non-productive times. And here you can see that, like, my machines obviously have a 24/7 calendar, so it's just white, which means it's productive all the time, while my workers obviously here are having a shift. And if you have seen the video before, then you know how I define these shifts for each worker. So here you can see it starts at 7 in the morning, half an hour break during lunch, and then the shift ends at 3:30. And so implicitly I showed the next functionality here, and this is, of course, at the top there is a time scale as you are used from Gantt charts, and here you are able to zoom in and out either by selecting a time window here, like this Tuesday. If I left mouse click, I directly zoom into that selected time frame. But what you can also do is, when you are with the mouse over the time scale, then you can use the mouse wheel and seamlessly zoom in and out. So this makes it very easy and very intuitively to zoom in and out the time scale. You can also make use of the mouse by having the mouse left click, then you can also scroll left and right. So you don't need to go to the scroll bars in here. So scrolling very easy, zooming in and out also very, very intuitive. Okay, so this is the resource view, and as a matter of fact, these bars here that visualize the workload of each of the resources, and there you can see that there's lots of workload scheduled here for each resource. Okay, so now let's switch to the next resource-centric view, that is called the resource group view. And here, in addition, what you can see is you can see the resource groups where the resources have been assigned to. You know these also from the video before. So when I defined that in the matrix, I assigned the resources to resource groups, and this is what you can see here. So my two sources are grouped in the resource group source. That means that either saw 1 or saw 2 can be used alternatively if there is a sawing operation. And from top to down you can see all of the groups with the machines. And now what you can also see is here, e.g. for that worker 1 line, there is some grayed out bars, what we call shadow bars or ghost bars. These appear if worker 1 was assigned to multiple groups, and obviously here worker 1 got a workload from another skill group, and therefore automatically worker 1 is blocked out for sawing operations here, as the workload is coming from another skill group. So which is actually, as you can see here, coming from that PO 2 and 1, and therefore the worker 1 is blocked. So if we select like one PO in here, and then as a matter of fact the routing is visualized, and here you can see it starts with a sawing operation, coming to the surface treatment, then going to the CNC, then hand it over to the edge banding, and finally there's the packaging. What you can also see is that the combo tasks, so the combination of machines and resources were defined, are also automatically considered. So here saw 1 is operated by worker 6, and therefore saw 1 and operator 6 or worker 6 are blocked entirely in the same time window. Same is true for the following, while obviously the packaging is a manual process where just one worker is needed. Okay, so that is the resource group view. And finally, what we do have is the job view. So here in the table part, you don't see resource information anymore, but what you see is the job. So this is now the entire backlog, so the entire schedule out of the perspective of the job. Some of you might call that also the project Gantt. So, and if I'm expanding here job number 1, so then I can see entirely the same routing structure that we have seen before. And if you expand additionally the sawing, then you can also see, okay, again, this is saw 1 operated by worker number 6. Furthermore, what you see is that symbol here, and if I'm hovering over it, you can see the tooltip that says release date. So the release date, you remember from the video before, is the earliest possible starting date. So the application then takes care that this job is never scheduled before that defined release date. On the other hand, we can see that milestone symbol here, that's the due date that you also inserted when creating the job. Okay, this is actually what you can see here in the job view. And here in the job view, we can also see, like with that PO number 30, there is a warning with that red cell in here that says, okay, obviously here is an issue, and if we expand this, then we can see that currently the schedule foresees an end date which passes the due date. So we exceed the due date. You can see here it's just a few hours, but anyway, currently I'm not able to finish the packaging before the due date, and therefore you get the warning here in the table part. Also with the red due date symbol, and those tasks that exceed the due date are also colored in red. Okay, so this is all about the job view. What additional visual capabilities do we have? So let's have a look at the top here in the menu or ribbon bar. So here you can see the filter. So what you can filter is, e.g., if you have customers. So customers, you select the customers, and then you can say, okay, I just want to reduce my schedule and want to see all those jobs that I have with customer 2. And then, of course, the job view as well as the resource-centric view are just showing those operations that relate to jobs that belong to customer number 2. I guess very intuitive. So what you also can filter is, like, e.g. for resources. So like if you want to filter by resource groups and you just want to see, let's say, the edge benders, so then all operations now are filtered by those jobs that include the edge benders, as here in my case all jobs need to use the edge benders. There is no reduction of what is shown. But if we go to the resource-centric view, then you can see the use of the filter, because now here the table part is entirely focusing on just the edge benders. Or you could also just focus this additionally on packaging and reduce this view on those resources and resource groups that you want to see only. Okay, so that's filter functionality, and we have got lots of other filter options, but here I guess that you see the benefit of using filters. Furthermore, what do we have? So we have got this highlight section, and that applies different color schemes. So if you want to see some information without reducing the total amount of data in your schedule, then you can make use of the color scheme. So for example, here we have a customer color scheme, and by the way, this is fully customizable. So if we are going here into the color schemes dialog, then you can see currently, obviously, I want to show all jobs that belong to customer 1 in yellow, but you can of course add your own criteria and say, okay, if I also want to see the jobs for customer 2, and let's make this then in a orange color. Okay, so then this is the way how you can create color schemes. So you can create as many of color schemes as you like, and you can refer to any criteria that you put in JustPlanet or that is outcome of JustPlanet. So really powerful functionality. So, and if I'm applying that, then you will see that there should also be additionally some orange bars. Or if we go to the job view, then you can see, okay, here I've got my yellow ones for customer 1, the orange one for customer 2, and the rest is just belong to other customers. Okay, so that's color schemes. So very popular is color schemes based on material that you put in, or if you have also like a paint booth within your production, then you can even visualize the color of that operation that is needed in the paint booth. So I guess there's unlimited more use cases of that functionality. Okay, so what else would I like to show to you? So if we go into settings again, then you can see here this settings dialog. And if you open the settings dialog, then you can see here down left below that you can customize the tooltip. So the tooltip of the task that you have over in the job view, in the resource view, in the execute job view, and the execute resource view, you can fully customize. So here you can see multiple different data sets that you can select or unselect, and by this what you then can customize is what is shown when I'm hovering here over such a bar. So this, what you see here, the information is totally customizable based on your requirements. Okay, what you also can do is in here define your own custom fields, and this means that you can individually add 2 data fields on job and task level. So here on job level I added one field that is called material number and one field that is called size in millimeters. So I could do that for the task also. So, and this then appears as an additional data field within the job dialog. So here you can see I've got now a field where I can put in my material number information as well as the size of the part that needs to be going to the saw. Okay, so actually this was a very quick overview over the most essential visual capabilities. And now let's focus on the automatic scheduling functionality. Okay, so then let's see what automatic scheduling capabilities JustPlanet provides. So by default, JustPlanet comes along with a priority-based finite forward scheduling engine. So that means that every job gets a unique or individual priority that you can see in the job view here in the very left part of the table area. So like here, the top listed job has the sequence number 1 with highest priority, so on, and the job that is listed at the end of this table has the highest sequence number and lowest priority. And based on this priority and based on the given finite capacities, all the jobs are scheduled then forward So that means from the left to the right, starting with the earliest possible start date, which is in my example here like the defined release date, and so then all the operations are scheduled from the left to right, following of course the routing structure and following the availability of the needed or potentially needed resources. So that's how it works. But JustPlanet provides more than only this, so you can switch from the forward scheduling to backward scheduling, so from ASAP scheduling, from as soon as possible scheduling, to just-in-time scheduling for each job individually. So like here I will show to you this here based on job 1. So now I schedule just only job number 1 backwards from the due date. I could also select this for the entire schedule, for all my schedule, or as seen here, just for individual jobs. Furthermore, what you also can do, you can define unlimited resources. So if you don't want to use finite capacities only, then what you can do is also define single resources as unlimited. So let's assume, for example, that the CNC1 would have unlimited capacity. Then you unclick the finite button here, and then directly you get a new schedule, and then you would see that CNC2 does not have any workload anymore because all can be scheduled to the unlimited capacity. This functionality makes sense in e.g. outsourcing cases where your outsourcer has not finite capacities, because he might be specialized on exactly these operations that are outsourced. But in general, our recommendation is to use the finite scheduling. Okay, so then the priority, of course, has a significant impact on scheduling. So this means that by changing the sequence number, you definitely then change the schedule as the priority set is modified. So let's do that based on this example here. So if I want to schedule this job on time, obviously I need to give this job a higher importance. So, and helping you to find that sequence number that you need to assign to the job to get it on time, we provide also functionality. So you click on that sequence number, you open that dialog, and before you start to change the sequence number doing trial and error, you calculate the critical sequence number. And the critical sequence number of a delayed job is that sequence number that you need to assign to the job to get it on time. So here you don't need to squeeze in the job dramatically earlier. It's just like 3 jobs earlier. So I changed the sequence number to 27. I trigger the rescheduling based on the new set of priorities, and then you can see now my job 30 is here now in line 27 and is scheduled to be on time. And luckily this has no negative impact on all the rest of my backlog concerning the due dates. Okay, so this is the priority-based scheduling, and here the the planner is fully in the driver's seat. That means that the planner is able, to set individually the sequence numbers for every job. Furthermore, what you can do is, if you might have scheduled your job, let's assume you get some information that the material cannot be delivered as early as you was guessing this, so then you just schedule based on the new earliest possible start date. And then what you want to do then potentially is, now I don't want the automatic scheduling to touch this job anymore. What you can do is, then you can exclude this special job from the automatic scheduling by using the hybrid scheduling. So now if you would just bring in a job in a higher position. This job here is pinned and is not touched by any automatism anymore. So this is kind of frozen in or pinned by each operation using the hybrid scheduling mode. Okay. So what else does Just Planet offer to you? So now I'm switching just back to my original situation. So I want to move the release set back. Okay, here we go. So now what also is possible is, let's assume, this job here has a quantity of 500 units. Let's assume that you are potentially able to start the surface treatment after like 100 pieces have been sawed. So this is also possible. So by just telling these sawing task by the center head quantity, let's say after 100 units, the next step of surface treatment then can be started directly. So if I'm doing this, then you will see that you will create an overlap, and this overlap ends or enables you to decrease the lead time, because like you can start with a surface treatment earlier due to some organizational or technical reasons. So also creating these overlaps you are capable to do in Just Planet. Furthermore, what you can do, so let's stay with that PO number 1. Let's assume you also want to increase the lead time, and what you do then, or what you might potentially could do, is assigning more than only worker 9 or 1 worker to the packaging process. So let's say you want to add another person into the process to have half of the process time. So, and this can be done by the split task functionality. So here it says currently I have got 1 task in packaging and I want to have 2 tasks here with the same quantity. So now I've got like 2 persons needed that are packing 250 units each. And if you then apply, what you can see then directly Just Planet calculates then the 2 packaging operations in parallel and assigns available worker to that and is rescheduling all the rest accordingly. Okay, just giving additional information so you can see that here there are some idle times. These idle times will be used automatically. So Just Planet will fill these idle times if there are operations, that are short enough to fit into those gaps. So Just Planet would not only, schedule from the end of each waiting queue, it will also always check if existing idle times might be usable. Okay, so what else belongs to automatic scheduling? Automatic scheduling, of course, also includes that if you have calendar exceptions, that these calendar exceptions are automatically considered. So calendar exceptions are e.g. partial downtimes or holidays of your employees. So let's make an example, and let's assume that here our colleague worker number 6 goes on holiday for like 2 weeks, like calendar week 47 and 48, so starting the 16th of November, ending the holiday then at the 27th. So what you do is you define the calendar exception starting from the 16th and ending on 27th. You leave the work time blank, so that means that this worker here is not available at all in that time window. And if you then apply this, then you will directly see that here now this area of worker number 6 is grayed out, he's not available at all, and therefore the backlog is reassigned to the other members of that skill group accordingly. Okay, the next functionality is we have got several time and resource constraints. So time constraints is, e.g., if for some reason like the CNC needs to wait for some material to be delivered, then you can always also define time constraints to any operation here. The same that you do on job level with the release date can be done for every operation in your schedule that says, okay, you cannot start the CNC before that date, and this can be set via drag and drop, or it could also be set just filling in this time constraint field. Okay, this is time constraints. So then we have got resource constraints. So what does that mean? So for example, we are going to the sawing operation as an example. Okay, so now let's assume this production order 1 has got some specific requirements which, you know, cannot be done by all of my saw operators that normally could be taken into consideration alternatively. So here let's assume just worker number 1 and worker number 5 have that special knowledge. So you are always able, you know, to specialize the definition of your group by saying who explicitly should be taken into consideration only. So you are able to define subsets of your group members for every operation. And if I apply, then you will see that just Planet now will look when either the worker number 1 or number 5 is available. Here it remains with worker 1. And if I'm setting this to whatever now worker 2, then you will see that worker 1 will be changed accordingly because he is not belonging to the group anymore, and so now you can see it's assigned to worker number 5. Okay, so these are the resource constraint, and we also provide functionality that we call task constraint. Therefore, let us go to another example. So let's go to that PO number 7. So and here we can see that we have got a sawing 1 and a sawing 2 operation. So and if I for some reason want to achieve that the same worker that is assigned to the first sawing step is also operating the second, so kind of a project manager or like a production order manager here, so then I have also the capability. So what I will do is I go to edit, and here now I'm in sawing 2, and by setting the task constraint to the operator, and I say I want to have the same operator that is chosen for the operation in the first sawing, so then just Planet also automatically takes care that this is done. So let's see if it's true. So here it is worker number 1, and if we go into sawing number 2, also worker number 1 is chosen. Okay, so this was an overview over the core automatic scheduling functionality that are very helpful to schedule job shops and to schedule manufacturers that run a high mixed low volume business. I hope you enjoyed it, and having said this, I thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video.